Every snap is an interview.
After the Snap.
What a snap.
Hey, keep your mouth shut, 50!
I lead by example.
With Blake and Reed Ferguson, discussing life in, out, and after football.
To be able to leave walking away with a degree and a championship, it couldn't be any better.
Yeah!
Well, you can take this boy out the real South Thunder, but you can't take the real South out of my voice. And now here we go again, twist a little bit deeper because I got thick skin.
Reed, the last time we talked, I mentioned how pumped I was to be putting up my Christmas decor.
I remember.
I am a day after Halloween Christmas decor putter-upper. And conveniently enough, our off day fell on the day after Halloween.
How convenient.
Christmas tree is up. Santa is on the balcony. Wreath is on the front door. We're ready to roll. Christmas candles are out on the coffee table.
Yep.
What more could you
sent
want?
You sent a picture of your Santa to the family group text. I feel like that needs to be posted on the pod page.
Definitely.
And I feel like there needs to be a poll presented to the Twitter and or Instagram users or followers regarding the discrepancy in when Christmas decorations should be allowed to be put up, because I have turned into more of a pre-Thanksgiving person.
That's my brother.
I don't think Erica is on the same page, but I did try to play we play music like before the special teams meetings, just to kind of like, as you're walking in, hanging out, chit chat, there's music going on.
Yep.
I tried to play All I Want for Christmas.
How'd that go?
Smiley was not having it.
Oh,
he was not having it. He is very strongly on the side of after Thanksgiving, and he even said wait until December
for Christmas music. Just for Christmas music or decor.
I think just Christmas celebrating in general.
He doesn't want to hear from Mariah Carey until December 1.
No, not until December 1.
Wow.
And even then he thinks it gets worn out. So there's definitely a conversation, and it was more, we asked some guys in the room as they came in, and it was more leaning towards a later start than I would have imagined.
That's fine.
I think that's because it's not cool to have Christmas spirit.
Yeah, definitely, especially around
Christmas
a group
spirit
of
is
dudes.
cool.
Yeah,
Christmas spirit is cool.
Christmas spirit is like the best thing. It's like one of my personality traits, I would say, is like
I can get on board with that.
The best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear.
That's right.
We can totally do a poll with people. I know that I'm going to be, and it sounds like you're moving towards the way that I feel, maybe not as extreme, but we could totally do that. I just know that I'm in the vast minority, and that's okay. That's something that I live with, and I am totally fine with that. But you know what? I can go to Target and get all of my Christmas decor, and then all the people who want to do it after Thanksgiving, everything's going to be gone. So do with that information what you will. You don't have to put it up. I would at least go buy it, though.
Fair enough. Let's get into a little bit of Week 8 action. As you may well know, for the people that tune into this podcast and the people that follow on our social medias, our parents were able to make both football games this weekend. Blake played at 1 o'clock on Sunday versus the Detroit Lions. They played in Detroit and got a win, 31-27. I believe I caught most of the game. Did you guys come back in the fourth? Was Detroit leading for most of the game?
Yeah. They got out to a pretty hot start. They got out to a pretty hot start. 14.
It was like a
nothing.
21-7.
Yeah, 14-0 before I even blinked an eye.
You guys came back
blinked?
Blunked an eye. Before
14,
you blunked an eye.
Blunked an eye. Anyway, they were up. They were beating us. But I don't believe that they scored after halftime. So Tua and the boys just wheeling and dealing.
Locked it down.
Tyreek Hill, I would like to mention this. Tyreek Hill has more receiving yards on the season than like 6 teams receiving groups. So
that's impressive.
Yeah, just balling.
Quite impressive.
Balling. He's a stud.
That was the 1:00 game. Parents then hopped on an aeroplane and flew their way over to Buffalo for the Sunday Night Football game. We're
making it sound significantly less organized and like way easier than it actually was.
Well, I'm a little bit of that is because we get into it later with the interview.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you're interested in hearing about the full details of the trip, please keep tuning in after we talk about our games. We are going on 2 years of this podcast. I'm learning how to tease things for later in the episode. I don't want to give my full. I don't want to give it all away in the opening segment. So parents made their way over to Buffalo. It was a short flight, about 50 minutes, I believe. They landed shortly after 6:00, made their way to the stadium straight from the airport. And we were hosting the Packers, came out with the win 27-17. It was a great game, very entertaining, I guess, just from we're watching a lot of the game from our standpoint. So it was a very entertaining game. That was the first time I had beaten Green Bay. We played them in 2018 in Green Bay, awesome stadium, but we lost. That was Josh's first season starting. So we're still kind of, going
finding
up
your way,
but finding the way. TTP, trusting the process. But yeah, no, it was a great win, and I talked to mom and dad afterwards in the group that was with them, and they were just over the moon excited that they were even able to make the trip, but also equally excited that both teams won. So yeah, I mean I'm so glad that we were able to make that happen for them, and they definitely showed their thanks.
Yeah, it was an incredible day all around, and I'm the interview that we have in store for them later on in the show is phenomenal. They did a great job of just unpacking every minute of that trip, which is just, it was so cool to be able to follow. Obviously you and I were not going with them, but it's a great interview. So I'm excited for our listeners to be able to hear that. But second, week eight after the clutch snap of the week needs to be dealt.
Yes, it does.
I'm going to take the reins. I'm going to take the reins on this one because I know this guy very, very well. He and I were the top 2 snappers in our class for the entirety of our high school career. Competed camp and in and camp out, just like always pushing each other. Congratulations to Liam McCullough, long snapper for the Atlanta Falcons. Game-winning field goal snap in overtime to seal the deal against the Panthers, 37-34 this past weekend. Huge snap in a huge spot. Congrats, Liam.
Congrats, Liam. Round of applause. That was just an absolutely bonkers game. You were not watching, obviously. No. You were they were the 1:00 window. Have you seen the highlights? Have you seen what happened at the end of the game? That the Falcons kicked a field goal to go up.
Oh, that was when he took his helmet off.
Yes. They kicked a field goal to go up
DJ Moore
34-28 with like 40 seconds left.
Yeah.
On the ensuing drive, the Panthers throw a Hail Mary to DJ Moore, catches it, touchdown, tie ball game, 34-all. Every Panthers fan in the world is probably thinking they won the game. DJ Moore takes his helmet off while he is celebrating in and out of the end zone. You can't do that. Big no-no, 15-yard personal foul. What?
Frowned upon.
Frowned upon, yes. Highly frowned upon. Not by the Atlanta Falcons coaching staff, though, or their fans or players.
Take it off as much as you want.
Yep, 15-yard penalty, backed up the field goal, the PAT, and it was a 48-yard extra point. They missed it. Go to overtime, first drive. The Panthers drive all the way down. The Falcons, they maybe threw a pick or they punted it. I don't know what happened. They gave the ball to the Panthers, so next score wins. Panthers drive all the way down to the 15-yard line, 33-yard field goal, hooks it wide left. Not a great kick. And the Falcons go down and win the game. Younghoe Koo, big T-Bass is close with Younghoe, so we were kind of watching it as it was happening. But just good job to congrats to Liam on winning the after the snap clutch snap of the week for NFL Week 8.
I should say, and this is an honorable mention that really wasn't given out because he won it last week, but Cameron Cheeseman snapped the game-winning PAT snap this past week.
Yes, he did.
I saw that they won by 1 point. And
at Indy, right?
Yeah,
Indianapolis.
And so honorable mention again to Cameron Cheeseman coming up clutch.
Clutch.
All right, I think it's time we get into the interview with Mom and Dad. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Welcome into the podcast, Mom and Dad. Mom, is this your first time on the pod, or is this number 2 for you?
Oh, this is number 1. This is my debut.
First debut time on the podcast. Big Kev, you've obviously joined us before. Mom, first of all, this was an amazing weekend for Reed and I to just get to experience having both of you at the games in the same day. What was it like being able to go see both of your boys playing in 2 different cities in the same day?
Yeah, I would say it was really a dream come true. I think that probably while you were at LSU and Reed was playing at the Bills, we probably saw both of you play in 2 different cities in a 24-hour time period, but never on the same calendar day. And I think it was even more special because we came away with two wins, which was super fun. And they were entertaining too. So neither one of them were just complete, beat downs. They were, you kind of kept us on the edge of our seats. And so that was super fun too. So it definitely added to the fun of the day for sure.
Dad, any thoughts?
No, it was great. I think as we reflected on it just after the game, even Sunday night, it was just having everybody there with us, I think made it special. We've, over the years been able to see a lot of games and been to a lot of games. And some of that, as Mom said, kind of tends to run together a little bit. And I think just having everybody there that was friends and some family to enjoy it with us along the way was really what made it pretty special.
Well, that's fantastic to hear, I guess, from our point of view, Blake. I don't want to speak for you, but I guess it was our goal to kind of, I guess, I don't know if reward or give back kind of everything that you guys have given us with making so many games over the years. But I want to set the kind of rewind and set the stage just a little bit because we all know how much planning and coordination this whole trip took. Dad, you're kind of the head CEO of Ferguson scheduling for NFL
Big Kev's travel agency
right now. Big Kev's travel agency. I've got Blakely joining me here. You want to get up? Okay. We know how much planning and coordination this took. Back in April, when the schedule came out, we saw, the primetime game, quite a few primetime games for each team. And so we knew kind of the first half of the season, you guys would be able to make quite a few, or not have to miss many games, especially the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. I think you just missed one game. Looking at this week 8 game, seeing that Blake played in Detroit at 1:00 and I played in Sunday night at 8:20, what was kind of the first thing that went through y'all's mind? Did this thought even pop up that you could potentially make it in one day?
Yeah. I mean, as soon as I saw that, just because, like you said, since Blake's been playing in the league for the last 2 years, we've looked at the schedule each year and just tried to find a day that matches up. I mean, it's obviously got to be a Sunday, most likely, I guess, would be the only way it would work, an early Sunday and then Sunday night. But I mean, I immediately looked when the schedule first came out to see, was there a commercial flight that would get us there for the game early on when the schedule first dropped. And so, there's no flights into Buffalo between that would allow us to make it. And then we kind of jokingly talked about, maybe we can get somebody to fly us, and we really didn't. It was really more just kind of joking, thinking about it then. But yeah, I mean, it was just awesome that it worked out like it did, and that you guys could find somebody to do it. So
I want to talk a little bit, and Dad, you mentioned it earlier about having not just you guys on the trip, but also some extended family members, as well as some of our closest friends. What was it like to be able to experience that day, but also with them?
Is that you want?
Sorry,
me or Mom.
Sorry,
Mom go first.
Yeah, I'll go to Mom first. I didn't really assign that, but yeah, I'll go to Mom first, and then Dad, you can follow up.
Yeah, so as I was sort of thinking about all your games over the years that we've been going to see you, high school, college, pro, I would say that we have probably cheered alongside friends and or family more than we have not. So to have people there who care about you all as much as we do was super special, and just a natural extension of our game day experience. So I think it was as much fun for them to be along on this adventure, and for us to be able to share it with people who are special to y'all and are special to us, because they're friends of yours, they're family of ours, and they just they love it as much as we do. So that was it just seemed like a very natural extension of this experience.
Yeah, and the only thing I would add is just, and we've said it before, is we've had a couple of games, individual games, where we've brought friends and family from different, circles of our relationships. And I think it's always kind of cool, especially for even a trip like this, where you're going from multiple cities and, you're riding together, you're in, these different environments, and then on a plane together, just having, family, and then, buddies that you guys are the common thread, but they're not necessarily friends outside of, knowing you guys. And so we had, 3 different guys from 3 different, areas of our lives that, kind of all came together and we all just kind of enjoyed it along with the rest of the family. And I think that was just the cool part to me, because it's just like this crazy road trip that you're going on, and everybody's just enjoying every minute of it.
Love to hear it. Dad, I'll stay with you, and then Mom, you can answer as well. Can you guys give one or two of your personal highlights of the trip? Anything that you've thought of or that comes to mind quickly?
Well, I mean, the weekend, there was just so much going on in the weekend. There was even stuff leading up to the trip, that we were trying to, well, I guess I'm trying to crazily pull off, going to country concerts in other cities on Friday night. And then we do a concert on Saturday night that just happens to line up with us being in Detroit. But, I mean, I think for me, the highlights were, the little, the shuttle ride on the way to the airport from Detroit, where you would otherwise think, or I guess coming into the trip, I was thinking, it's going to be tight and, we got to make sure everything is on time, but everything worked out flawlessly. We had great weather. Everybody that we encountered along the way was, treated us and helped us amazingly. But, as we're rolling up to the airport in Detroit, the driver's like, hey, you guys want to stop for snacks? And we just kind of roll into the Safeway. And
do you want to grab a 4-pack of High Noons on the way to the
absolutely?
To the
So we grabbed our High Noons, and Mom and the birdies went over and got a smoothie, and we're walking across the highway, and it's just those were the kind of moments that, like I mentioned before, you're just kind of enjoying being around everybody. I mean, again, the games are cool. I don't want to minimize the games, but the travel and kind of going through it all was one of the cool parts about it.
Yeah, so I'll just kind of jump in. I would say the highlight for me was just laughing and smiling a lot. I know that for many years to come, we're gonna smile a lot when we think about the memories of this weekend. But it's been a rough few months, especially the last couple of weeks for our family, losing Granddaddy a couple of weeks ago. And so I think just sharing this experience with the people who were there, but also the people who were at home following, whether it was on social media, whether it was just personal texts and Snapchats and pictures that we were sending and phone calls along the way to keep grandmother updated. And, everybody was just so excited to be a part of it. And I would say including the shuttle driver and the pilots of the plane and all the people who were handling our baggage and, all of it, just everybody along the way they were just so happy to be a part of it. It was just such a fun experience for everybody that was directly or indirectly involved. And I just kept thinking how Granddaddy would have loved to have been just cheering us on from home, along the way and looking forward to pictures, updates and texts and, and all of that. And I think grandmother did a great job of encouraging us and being excited for us to actually make this happen. So that was just a special moment for me. I just kept thinking Granddaddy would love this. Granddaddy, at the games, at the private plane, all the excitement around that. I just, he would have loved to have heard all about it. So, so that was fun. Grandmother sort of stepped in and cheered for both of them. And it was just a really nice way to sort of end the month of October, which was a really tough, time for me personally and for our family. And so the timing was good.
Well, I love to hear that. And I have to agree. I've had at least a dozen people in the building here and many more than that reach out to me saying how much they enjoyed following Brett's takeover of the podcast, Instagram and the Twitter stuff, and how much they enjoyed keeping up, like you said, keeping up with your travels and your kind of the whole trip on Sunday. But so a few more things. I want to get into what it's like flying on a private jet because I have not done it. I know Blake has not done it. You guys have now. But I thought it was funny. I saw in an article leading up to the weekend, I guess Blake was interviewed and he said, I think it was in, you were speaking to Joe Kinsey with Outkick. Yeah. And Blake said, I never thought that I'd be paying for a private jet or flying on one day. And here I am paying for one.
Yeah.
And I'm not even flying on it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I thought that was hilarious. So I, firsthand experience from two people who have now experienced the PJ life. Can you share some tips and tricks maybe for future trips?
So I'll jump in. So first of all, they do not have Wi-Fi.
Not even the free messaging.
Yeah, none of that, but it is quite scenic, I will say, because everybody has a window seat and everybody, you're able to sort of get almost a 360 view of outdoors, but it also it really makes me appreciate the expertise of the pilots in the cockpit, because you are feeling very tiny up in the skies, and so that we were in good hands. But I've had a chance to fly a couple of times during my career at Coke in a small jet like that, just with a customer, and it's a fun experience. Dad and I took a little small flight like that I think it was from Nantucket back over to Cape Cod back in 1991 maybe or something. So that's been a long time ago. But
okay, bougie.
No, I'm saying it's just I'm along for the ride.
Big Kev was high rolling it at
Avaya or
wherever he was working at the time.
Yeah. That was way before Big Kev 20.
Lucent Technologies.
But this was fun because it was the circumstances around why we were doing it was just super cool. So it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think I mean, kind of what Mom said. I think you appreciate because you're sitting closer to the pilot, and just there's a personal nature to it, but also it is a little bit closer to the reality of what it is you're doing, literally flying in a plane like that, and you appreciate it because you can kind of a little bit closer to seeing everything. But just an appreciation for what those folks did to kind of get us there from one point to the other safely. And I mean, just the little, we were on the plane for just over an hour, and enjoying those kind of funny moments there with family and the guys that went with us. It just the laugh, that's what I'll remember. That again, not to minimize the games, but those moments kind of in the plane, just the little funny moments and sayings and things that we talked about are what will be the memories that'll last forever.
I think one more thing on that. I think the coolest thing for me from watching from afar was Brett posted a video of the landing. And he was basically looking through the cockpit, and it looked like a video from like a flight simulator or something. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly you avoid all the clear and TSA pre-check, so that you just kind of roll up and say, okay, here's where you're sitting, and then you get on and go. So there's it's quite different.
You can bring more than 3.5 ounces of toothpaste
in
your carry-on.
They're not checking my overnight, and
So obviously over the years, I guess 8 or 9, 10 years now, you guys have been to an insane amount of games, too many to count, too many amazing weekends of going from Buford to LSU, or LSU to Buffalo to wherever. this has to rank in like top 5 of all of the memorable weekends that you've been to, if not number 1. What are some other memorable weekends? I know there was maybe one last year that was kind of a quick turnaround. What are some other memorable weekends, that you guys have had as you've traveled to see Reed and I play? I'll go to Mom first.
Sure. So just to pick up on what you said about last year, we flew over to London to watch you play. The Dolphins played in October. And then you played on a Sunday, and then we turned around and flew back to the US on Monday morning and made a connection through Detroit and went straight to Nashville, got off the plane, went to baggage claim, and went to the stadium to watch Reed and the Bills play the Titans. And I would say by the end of the second game and all of the time changes, my head was spinning. I wasn't sure what day it was. I wasn't sure how many, hours of sleep I'd had, or whether I'd eaten or, had 5 meals that day. I couldn't remember, but that was super fun. And grandmother and granddaddy got to come to that game because that was exciting.
I'd say that this past weekend has to be at least one spot ahead of that one, because that was two losses.
Yeah.
And this week was 2
good
wins.
point.
That's right.
So,
I think definitely. I would say this past weekend was probably top 1 weekend for me. I would say a couple of other, ones that really stand out. I would say probably each of your first games, with the Dolphins, with the Bills. That was fun. The Bills snow game, obviously, back in 2017 against the Colts was amazing.
We were all there for that one.
We were all there. Yep. And then I think when the Bills played in Atlanta, because so many friends, since that's kind of our home base, got to come, friends and family, and we got to go out on the field. And so that was fun. And then I think just all the games during the 2015 season when you guys were on the same team at LSU, and probably the only time that you'll be on the same team before that or since then. And so that was special for us because every game we went to, you were both there.
Kev, you got any she did a pretty good job covering.
Yeah, she covered them all, but I think what was always cool for me, I guess, just to add, and it was really more nothing specific, I guess maybe there's a few games, but what was always cool was when we would, like when you were at LSU and there would be a game, like the A&M game, right? Which, didn't work out like we wanted it to on the 7 overtimes, but there were other games where, we'd be in Baton Rouge until late on a Saturday night, drive down to New Orleans or leave early from, Baton Rouge to get to wherever Reed was. I mean, there were, a lot of those games where we would show up on Sunday to like Green Bay. I remember going to Green Bay after we were seeing you play, or going to Minnesota, or some game where, after we start talking to somebody about, you playing at LSU and Reed playing for the Bills, and they, oh yeah, I would just watched that LSU game, and I was like, yeah, I was just there, 12 hours ago. I was in the stadium, and now I'm here, and look at us, So it was just, it was almost surreal that we, could even pull it off. And I say that just because of all the trips, you look back of all the things that we've ever done, and the, literally hundreds of games that we've been to, the only one that really was ever a travel issue was that, that one game, other than us just you literally can't get there in time because of the flight times. But the only one that was ever really an issue was that one, coming from A&M, the 7 overtime game into Buffalo, where we're, literally running through Atlanta airport, barely made the flight. And then, it's 29 degrees in Buffalo and our luggage doesn't make it. So, thankfully the team.
We have the refs. We have the refs to thank for that one. It wasn't supposed to go that long.
Yeah, his knee was still down, I contend. But yeah, I mean, it was, those are the moments that I think about, because just like, yeah, I can't believe that I'm standing here because I was just in Tiger Stadium less than 12 hours ago.
Yeah.
So those are the cool moments.
Well, we've been very fortunate to, for both of y'all's work to allow you to have that kind of flexibility and just the resources to be able to do it over the years. So, from Reed and I, we love y'all, and we're very fortunate that y'all were up for doing 2 dubs in one day, and glad that it all worked out. Thank y'all so much for taking the time today to share a little bit of that with our listeners.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks. We appreciate it. And hopefully on the flight, they can give us the Big Kev 20 at checkout. I don't know if that's still a possibility, but we'll see. No, we love you guys.
There's very few things that probably don't have a discount code.
That's one.
I think a private jet probably doesn't have a discount code.
Oh man,
Big Kev 20 might get you $20 off, not 20%.
That's right.
That might Big Kev 20 might get you an extra high noon.
Extra bag of
Hashtag no free ads.
That'll get you Wi-Fi on the next one.
Yep,
Right.
Yep.
No, we love you guys. We appreciate you doing it, and everybody that was involved. We're grateful that, because it wasn't just us. I mean, there were, Bruce and the hotels and all the people along the way. It was flawless, and we were grateful that you guys were able to help us with it. So thank you.
Thank you. We love you.
Love y'all.
Love y'all too.
So I think coming out of that interview this week, that was the hardest interview to schedule that we've ever had. Like, I think they're busier than any guest that we've had on this podcast
100%.
in terms of scheduling theirs, aligning their schedules with ours. That was nearly impossible, it blows my mind. But that, I guess that goes to show you
what happens when you have 4 people going all separate directions all the time.
Well, and they move around like crazy. It blows my mind how much they are traveling in and out and everywhere. Dad's at concerts and mom is, traveling all around too. So, but another big thank you to mom and dad for joining the pod this week. That was a ton of fun. We need to have mom on more often. I feel like
she did a good job.
It shouldn't have taken this long to get mom on the pod.
She has done a lot of presentations for Coca-Cola for many years, working for them, obviously. So no surprise to me that she was so good.
She was the one that always gave us our coaching when it came to presenting and talking in front of groups of people. So not at all surprised there.
Before we end, I do feel like we need to hit on a few of the college football games that are relevant to this podcast this weekend. There are a lot of big games, a few that I want to hit on. Obviously, Tennessee, Georgia.
Now I regret not asking Big Kev about Tennessee, Georgia.
Yeah, was not top of mind during that interview. Tennessee, Georgia is the 3:30 CBS game, 3:30 Eastern, Saturday in Athens between the hedges. Georgia is an 8-point favorite.
There's no way they cover that.
There's a ton. Well, it was 10 and now it's 8. So people are obviously on board with you, thinking that Tennessee will cover as the new number 1 team in the college football playoff rankings.
That's what I'm thinking with that shift, is that a lot of those people probably saw those rankings and they're like, okay, maybe we aren't the only ones that think Tennessee has the sauce.
Yep. I think they're number 1, if not top 5 offense in the country as well. Georgia's defense obviously has been great for a number of years now. But that will be a fantastic game to watch. And then also LSU, Alabama, Saturday night, 7:00 Eastern.
In Death Valley.
In Death Valley. Bama is a unfortunate
You don't have to say it.
2-touchdown favorite in Death Valley. So we'll be cheering the Tigers on with all of my heart. and just glad that I don't have an Alabama guy on the team right now to potentially rub it in my face.
They're all in Miami, so
that's right.
I
They're
will-
all in. What? How many do you have? 6?
no, we have
Four?
3.
3.
We had 4.
Who is
Now
the
we
guy
have-
that
we have 3.
just left? Did you have a guy
Um,
that recently left this
I feel
year?
like we
Last
had a
year?
guy like on the practice squad last year.
Oh,
that
okay.
was a former Bama guy. But yeah,
Anyway.
so Tua and Jalen, and then
Sure.
Raekwon Davis.
Oh, okay. Raekwon might have been the
But
one I was not thinking of.
there is full SEC representation in that locker room. Got a bunch of Georgia blood, got a bunch of LSU, all kinds of SEC in that locker room.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, so 2 big games this Saturday. We'll definitely have eyes on both. So we are going to, just before we wrap up, the Bills, we are going to New York to play the Jets Sunday at 1:00. You guys are going
in
to
Chicago.
Chicago. Sorry,
Yep.
you just played Detroit. You guys are going to Chicago 1:00 Sunday afternoon.
Yep. This is my first time going to Chicago in the regular season. We went there in the preseason last year, so it was like beautiful weather in like mid-August. So
I have also not played there in the regular season. We play there Christmas Eve this season.
that'll be fun for you.
Yep.
But
We play in Buffalo. So.
there's a storm rolling through, I think, on Saturday. So hopefully that kind of comes and goes, and we get some moderately nice weather for this
Very
time of
nice.
year in Chicago. But
Fingers crossed for you,
we
brother.
shall see. That is like the place that everybody is just like
Long grass.
long grass, just not really a great surface from what I've been told. It was nice. We were the first, it was the first preseason game. So it was, pristine when we played up there last year, but I've heard just not great things about it. And then obviously the wind in there is not fun for specialists. So
Make sure you get some deep dish.
yes, we are laser focused. Dude, when I got deep dish last time, I was kind of disappointed because
Where'd you go?
You
gotta go to Giordano's.
Giordano's, yeah. It's like the place. There's multiple, I think, of them.
Lou Malnati's is the other one.
That's the one. I had both of them. We were up there for a week.
Okay.
I've
also had both.
And truthfully, I just it's way too dense for me. Like, it's just like you can only eat one slice of the pizza before you're just like gut bomb full. So
speak for yourself.
So yeah, I'll definitely have to partake in a Chicago slice.
Love it.
All right, that is a wrap on this week's episode of After the Snap. As always, thank you for joining us. Go subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you consume this content. Follow us on social media at After the Snap Pod, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all of the places. This has been After the Snap, tales from 2 brothers and 2 parents who live life
upside down.